going to my mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night on the television, I was on a telephone rapidly rising and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHEI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was on the foot in the we're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make that near and dear to you that you would like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that political coverage. I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingersong. That song. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. No idea. No idea. No idea.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that St. Simon's down in Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Good morning, folks. Welcome back. It's Monday, August 12th, 2024. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in central Pennsylvania for this early morning AM edition, your wake up edition. Welcome back to the program. Hope you're well wherever you find yourself around the world. If you're here in North America, it is early in the morning on the East Coast. It's still but early in California, just 4:41 in the morning. Welcome back. I'm doing consulting this week, so my normal broadcast schedule has been disrupted for this week. I don't have to be in until 10 for my gig this morning, so I thought I'd do a quick morning news and say hello to everybody, and we'll touch base. But anyway, thanks for being in here, and we'll cover some news. Not a lot happening that I can see around the world this morning, a few things, but we'll talk about that. And let me put these reading glasses up for a little bit later on. I'm going to need those. Remember to take those with me, along with my badges and access cards and all those things, plus a power bank to recharge my mobile, which I'm charging now. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Who we got in the chat here? Early morning. It's midday for South Africans. Well, early afternoon, I should say, as we work our way through August already. The 12th. Can you believe this? We're in the 8th month, and it's the 12th day already. It'll be Christmas before you know it. Scary thought there. Charles Van Alten. I'm not looking forward to Christmas, folks, because at Christmas time, I reach a threshold, which I haven't really thought about until probably just right about now. But I reach a threshold on Christmas Day that's unbelievable. I cannot believe it. You can't roll the clock back. You can't go back to points in time. I can't take myself back to 1970 in first grade. Just can't do that. I can't take myself, actually 69 is when I started first grade, I should say. I just can't take myself back to that point. It doesn't work that way. I wish I could. I wish I could take myself back to 1985. Yeah, wow. Prince, Purple Rain, Kaja Gugu, Too Shy to Shy. Wow, that was a great time. The clothes were great. The music was great. The Cold War wasn't great, but the world was at least sorted out. And now it's a bat crap crazy world, and the looming prospect of a Harris presidency and repression of free speech is just around the corner. It's a pretty frightening prospect. That may be the thing that finally drives me out of broadcasting is a repressive state, the censorship state, the corrupt state, the corrupt Federal Bureau of Incompetence, and so on. Might be the thing that finally drives me out come February. We may have to see what happens. Charles Van Altz on The Voice of Reason is here. George Steinberg in from Heckport. Dylan Combrick, always around. Good to see Dylan. Garrett Gillich in from Somerset West, one of my favorite places in all of South Africa for some strange reason. Keith Alderson is here in from Coventry. Charmaine is here. Welcome, Charmaine. It's me again. And if Val Cooper's here, please give it a shot. See if you can chat. We may have fixed Val's inability to comment. I don't know if we have. Let me see if she sent me a note or not. And if she sent me a note, she let me know that she's not able to chat. I don't see anything. All right. Okay. All righty. So, the Free Sam Malia protest outside the prison where he was imprisoned for 24 months for printing illegal stickers. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. Yeah, legal stickers quoting the truth. Yeah, exactly. The United Kingdom is gone. It's absolutely gone, folks. I'm actually afraid to travel there at this point. It's a pretty frightening prospect. If you open your mouth or you say something, you could go to jail. I mean, it's ludicrous. The Rowan Atkinson video that Ronaldo asked me to put on air yesterday, is that recent or is that old? I couldn't tell. I couldn't find the provenance, the origin of it, the original of Rowan Atkinson standing up for free speech. It's time for more celebrities to do that, but of course there are so many cowards they won't do that. But Rowan Atkinson doesn't need them, and as he said, he's a public figure, so they have different rules for public figures. Yep, we are going live early, Hendo. I did mention I'd probably do that. The het now the cock. What's this? Charmaine saw Zimbabwe. We told Julius Malema to get screwed. Really, I didn't see that. Hi, all. Strange time for a live stream. Not really, John. Not really. Your memories are short. Every 6 months this occurs. Every 6 months when I do consulting at the War College, thereabouts, I typically am tied up for 3 weeks in the morning or all day. And so I try to do from my mobile or if I can early on. But today I'm not until 10. Tomorrow I might do a live stream in the morning early. I just have to get up early enough to do it. It's summer. Yeah, well, that's Keith. We're in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, fire. What's he got? Fires? What's going on there? Yeah, free Sam Malia. This is horrible what's going on in the United Kingdom. And the world is just looking the other way. The world is just not even caring. By the way, the Chinese claim they got 44 gold medals. They didn't because they're claiming Hong Kong and Taiwan. Well, I guess we should claim Puerto Rico and the other places that are part of America that have their own Olympic teams. And somehow we don't. So, yes, I'm at the War College later today. That's correct, Charles. Okay, and Hakan is in from the Netherlands. Ernst is here. Welcome to you. Bosch Zebra. Good to see you again. Ulrich Fenter. And who else we got here? I don't expect a big audience because it's unannounced. It's also an unusual hour. Yeah, I saw that. KikeNet because you can only watch it. Yep. Well, I did find in the settings last night a profile that says Valerie Cooper, but the color didn't match her avatar, so I don't know if that was a spam account. We also got a fake Eric in there. We've got a fake Yanni Meyer account in there. We've got plenty of other fake ones where people duplicated the account and came in and lied and misrepresented and misled people. So I gave that one permission again, so hopefully it's her. We'll see. John Jarvis says, worry not, Chris. There's largely no difference between the 50s and 60s. Well, I'm not worried, John. It's just, 50s is it's cool to be in your 50s. Being in your 30s is cool. Being in your 50s is cool. The 40s, didn't really notice. I was so busy saving the world. 20s, yeah, that was just getting yourself established. But the 30s and 50s have been great decades. Yeah, so anyway, but my 30s were spent in the 90s, which was a crazy time. Elon Musk and Rumble also sued World. Yeah, that's a few days back. I talked about that. We'll see if that goes anywhere with the corrupt captured courts. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. Outrageous that renters should have to pay council taxes. Nowhere else in the world is this the case. My council tax. Yeah, no, Grasshopper, 100% I agree with you. I've never heard of such thing. If you live in the UK and you're renting, you pay council taxes. That's BS. The property owner's the ones that pay council taxes, and then they put that in your rent. That's, they becomes part of your rent. I know that's the case in the UK. It's unbelievable. Everyone, except illegal aliens, they, of course, don't pay any council taxes, and they take advantage of council services. The United Kingdom is so screwed up. It's so misgoverned, malgoverned, that it's unbelievable. It's shocking how a country can get so fucked up so quickly is amazing. And quite frankly, the only time that country has been halfway straight since the Second World War is when Thatcher was the prime minister. I mean, it was screwed up in the 50s, screwed up in the 60s, screwed up in the 70s. And that's why you get all these crazy bans, because they're singing things against the government, So, no, the UK is just, it's a disaster, an absolute disaster. I mean, listen, every time, as I said, I go into London, I fly in the airport, and then I get pulled aside. I'm talking about when it's clean shaven in the military, carrying a diplomatic passport, clean shaven, well dressed, not doing anything dodgy, just walking in. Because I'm the white guy with the blue eyes, I get pulled over by the Pakistani and South Asian descended or just arrived immigration officials. What the hell are they doing immigration if they're just being naturalized? They have no business being there. It's ridiculous. We do the same stupidity here. We send naturalized people back to the countries where they originated from, working in the State Department. That's just asinine. In the military, we wouldn't do that. When I came to the military, if you were born or raised in a country like, say, Germany or Korea, you couldn't join the military and be stationed there. It's just stupid. I mean, your fealty is not to the U.S. government, U.S. military. It's to another foreign power, or at least that's a suspected case. And we can't be doing that sort of nonsense. Why do we have people in the State Department who were born in Sudan serving in our embassy in Sudan? That's just brain dead. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's me. Starmer is slightly brighter, and he's more attractive. So double the IQ of Harris, yep. Especially when the council taxes go into central government person, don't get spent services. Exactly. Exactly right, Keith. Exactly right. You're 100%. Yep, I'm here. Why so early today? Oh my goodness, we're going to say this again. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said this week, what used to happen for the past few years is that the consulting gig that I do is 6 weeks every year, twice a year for 3 weeks. And it was 3 weeks back to back. And that's a huge and long stretch. They decided a couple rotations ago, a year ago actually, that they wanted to do 1 week a couple months early so that everything was prepped. And then just have the 2 weeks, the week of preparation, the week of performance. And that was a real problem last year because they screwed me at the wrong time. And it was late when they told me this proposal, and that was not in the contract. And so I had to jumble everything and change my trip to South Africa, all based on that last year. Then in the spring, they didn't inform us they were going to continue this nonsense. And so I didn't know about the week. And I get a letter saying, "Where are you at this morning?" I'm like, "What do you mean where I'm at this morning? I'm campaigning. I'm running for office." "Well, you're supposed to be in here at the War College." I'm like, "Well, I can't make it. Sorry, I've got other commitments here." And so I lost out on the coin. They managed to get by without me. Maybe that's a good sign. But I lost the coin. I could use that money. It was a lot of money. I mean, we're talking, a lot of cash. I needed it to pay taxes. Anyway, so this time, I think they mentioned it, but it kind of slipped my mind. And so it wasn't until about a week ago that I realized that it was this coming week. So I'll do a week now, and then in October, I'm gone for 2 weeks. And that affects my travel schedule. I doubt that I'm traveling in September. And I'm not sure if I'm going to travel in November yet or not. We're working on that, so we'll see. Anyway, got to find a cheaper way to travel, folks. It's killing me. Yeah, council tax fleeces, folks. If you don't pay it, they send prisoners to jail. Yeah, they do. It's crazy. Waldray Sieberts is in from Cape Town. Welcome to you. Guitarists, I believe, were trained to be dome of the security. What? No idea what you're talking about there, Keith. Well, Dylan says, hope you enjoy it. No, I won't. This is, what I do this week is mind-numbingly boring stuff. Trained chimpanzees could do it. Trained chimpanzees could do this week. I embellish. You couldn't get trained chimpanzees. Actually, unfortunately, you need someone with my and my colleagues' level of experience and a rare set of skills that you can only find in a handful of people. And hence, we're doing it. Lee Lowe is back. I wonder where Lee was at. Last time I saw Lee, she was promising Super Chats. Anyway, speaking of Super Chats, if anybody wants to do that, let's get that back up. There's the PayPal if you want to do it. So, train me and I'll do it for pay. Yeah, Dylan, it doesn't work that way. You're going to need decades of experience, leadership, combat experience, staff experience, foreign experience in uniform, experience in government. It all comes into play. Anyway, so don't sweat it, folks. It's a little bit of coin. I need coin because I sure don't make it off of this channel or my YouTube presence. I've got 3 monetized channels, and that's not enough to eat. That stuff, the monetized channels would not even pay a portion of my mortgage. They do pay my my cable bill for the most part. They do manage to pay my cable bill most months, even after the taxes and even after everything comes out. Everything comes in time, says Lee. Dean Chancey has not. Well, Samson has 2 more reaction videos up. They're pretty good. The first one's fantastic. Capsaicin is really good, but Silver, not so good. Not as good. But Samson, then he also put up a video, recycled some of his content from other platforms of him rapping for Run DMC. That was incredible. That was awesome. I'm a fan of council tax. Actually, it replaced rates payments, meaning that everyone has to pay and not just homeowners. Oh, I disagree, John Jarvis. Those taxes are based on ownership, and you can never become a homeowner if you're paying someone else's property taxes. It's unfair. Now, you could say, well, I just said a moment ago it's rolled up in the price of the housing. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's something that has to come out, but the less a person, anyway. So yeah, no, we're going to disagree. We're not going to agree on that. Not going to agree on that at all. I spent most of my life as a renter, and if I was paying property taxes for renting someone else's property and not owning it, not building equity, I would be up in the arms there. Yep, and that just would irritate me. People pay taxes through consumption taxes. That's where most of the money comes from for states over this side. Sales tax, automobile registration, weapons registration, things like that is where states get their revenue from. They just fleece us. It's unbelievable. And even then, they don't live within their budget. I mean, the federal budget is $2 trillion over. Minnesota had a $17.9 billion surplus sitting in the bank when Tim Walz became governor in 2018. They have a massive deficit now. He spent all the money, and then he gave driver's license to criminal alien invaders, and he just destroyed Minnesota. Typical leftist. The money all goes to UK limited business funds anyway. I have no idea what that is. Okay. Lee Love says, you, Colonel, blush beautiful. I have rosacea, that's why I'm blushing. And there's a super chat from Ernst. Wow, it's 100 Rand. Thanks for that. I always find that puzzling. Do people do that intentionally? Because when it comes up, it doesn't give you an amount of $9.99 or $99.99 or $1.99 or much better, $999.99. It doesn't give you that. It gives you a flat number. Do people intentionally put in 99.99 just to make me think it's 100? Or it looks bigger because it's 99? I always get a kick out of it. Thank you for that, Ernst. Is the British flag still a tax haven? No. But the Channel Islands are still a tax haven. There's Valerie Cooper. She's in. Is that really you, Val? Is that really you? Look, Val, in all honesty, you were not in there. When I did that live stream, I went through it row by row. Your name was not there. So YouTube is screwing around here. And then it wound up in there. So I'm glad you mentioned it. All right, so yeah, it's crazy. Were you a ratepayer when Thatcher brought in? Well, Thatcher brought in was a dumb idea. I don't like it. I don't like it. Now, on the flip side, the reason why homeowners pay that here in America is that most of that money goes to schools. And so if you're looking at it that perspective, if the rates that you were paying actually paid for the schools, well, then it would be a much fairer system than what we've got. I mean, I pay for other people's kids to go to school, and I pay a lot. When I say a lot, we're talking about I pay more per year in property taxes for an average house. Not even, this is just a modest home. It's ridiculous how much I pay for property taxes here. And just 2 counties away, because the county set the rate, people pay people in a county nearby with a house the same size pay about 40% of what I pay. But the county's in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah. Anyway, point here is that it is a very unjust system. If your kids are in school, you should be paying fees to go to school. And I don't really have a major problem with the rest of us in society paying, because we all have responsibility for inculcating the next generation, educating the next generation. But the problem is that our kids aren't being educated. They're being indoctrinated to hate their own country. They're not being taught its civics. They're not being taught its system of government. They're falsely being taught bullshit histories. And they're being sexualized in our schools. And they're being taught all kinds of stuff that is not education. It is indoctrination. And that's the problem I have with paying for it. Kikenet Corner was becoming very lonely. I'm sorry, Cal. Again, like I said, I'm not fibbing to you. You weren't there, and when you said last night that you're just going to watch, I felt really bad when I saw you in Gareth Cliff's the new network, or the network, whatever he calls that. I liked Cliff Central better. Anyway, I felt kind of bad, so I went looking back again. I went line by line, and I also found Eric in there, but we know that's a fake Eric account that someone appropriated and stole her photo when she was wearing a Tugela hat. And then there's also a fake Yanni Meyer account in there too. So John Jarvis says you're not really understanding the original concept. Oh no, I understand the original concept, John, but you're conflating what I'm saying. I'm talking about America and UK in the same conversation. The purpose is different. The origin of it's different. And also in the UK, it's one situation. In America, it's 54, 56 different situations. Each state and territory has their own laws and rules on this. And so, yeah, I am understanding. You're conflating what I'm saying. So, but don't sweat it. When the poll tax came in, I ducked and dived on it. Will Iran and its proxies respond to Israel this week? I don't think so. I don't think so. By the way, if you're trying to get my attention, you did the @ symbol when you start chat, start typing kernel, and it'll come up and hit that, and then it comes up highlighted in the chat. By the way, that goes for anybody. If you're trying to talk to someone in the chat, that's the best way to do it. But the @ symbol, like you see John Jarvis put @Keith Alderson in there, and then it will come up. But it only comes up highlighted for the person who you're contacting, so it doesn't bother anyone else. Anyway, but I don't always see your comments unless you do it Colonel Chris Wyatt, then it's easier for me to see. But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to this week. This is important work, but it's boring, bores me to tears. I don't enjoy doing it. It's a long week, but the good news, I suppose, is now it's not 3 straight weeks, so get this one out of the way. But anyway, next month I have to put my car in for inspection. I have new tires, so tires aren't going to be a problem. Who knows what they'll come up with this time. Last year, I had to spend $2,000 on a transmission part, and this crazy transmission in this car. I prefer standard transmissions. Head Nose making lunch. Well, it is that time. It is 1 o'clock and 12 o'clock in, 2. It's 1 o'clock in the UK, excuse me. Lee says, I'm sorry, my password is pulling a Biden. Oh, you're talking about trying to super chat. Lee, don't worry about that. I'm teasing there. So anyway, yeah. Where are we at now? Okay, so I did bring up a few things. The Chinese are proclaiming that they've won the Olympics because they got 44 gold. They didn't. They got 40 gold. Also, the Americans apparently protested. This is a scandal that is not getting attention. I don't know if it's a real scandal. Someone shared it with me last night. I haven't searched it, but this is supposedly what happened. In the one gymnastics event, supposedly, the American team protested so that the black gymnast could get an additional point added, and they did that. They added the point to the black gymnast score, and then that meant that there were 3 black athletes on the podium for their diversity nonsense. Only after the fact, the International Olympic Committee supposedly went back and looked, and that there's a window to protest, and they were 1 minute past that window, and so it was fraudulent. And so if that's a true story, the black athlete did not earn the medal. The other American, who was white, earned the medal, and they're going to strip that person the bronze and give it to the white athlete. Wait till we hear the racism nonsense coming out. The actual racism is if, in fact, the Olympic officials cheated to give a black athlete a higher score after the fact when the Americans complained about it for their diversity initiatives. That's the racism. I don't know if any of this is true. I have to research it. It's not a priority for me. I'm much more interested in the Chinese whining about how they have 44 gold medals, which they don't. Bloomberg reported that foreign investors pulled a record amount of money from China last quarter. I'm not surprised. China's economy is in the crapper. I've told you this for the last year and a half. It's actually been that way since COVID. The Chinese have not really recovered from COVID. They claim they have, and economists will tell you they have, but that's just a lie. It's simply not true, folks. Don't know why people believe that. You look at what's going on, look at factory orders, look at income, look at GDP, look at so many things. When you account for inflation, the Chinese are worse off today than they were in 2019. But many of us are. I mean, I'm worse off than I was in 2019. I mean, in 2019, I was on active duty. My salary was over 45% larger than what I take home now. Yeah, and that included a lot of tax-free income. And frankly, to be honest, at that time, I didn't have to pay my mortgage because as a serving military member, you get a housing allowance if you're not living in government quarters or the barracks. And that covered my mortgage for the most part. And so now I had to take that out of my pocket. That hurts. Saw that the China's Global Times says tying the Olympics gold medal should not be viewed in isolation. No, Icono, the Chinese are trying, and that's just, there are more claims that they own Taiwan and they own Hong Kong, and it's really disturbing. They've always competed as separate. Taiwan's a separate country. Hong Kong was a special case. It was given back to China, but it still was competing as a separate, was governed separate. But the Chinese communists are trying to destroy that freedom. They've done a very successful job of that. And by the way, do you know there's only 6 continents, not 7? Wow. We were always taught there were 7 continents. But now we're hearing from geologists and others that there's actually just 6 continents. We're going to get back to that here shortly. You stick around to Gareth to hear Dr. Hanan. It was rather funny. No, that was kind of weird. The guy sounded like he was Dr. Ruth giving sex advice or something like that. I only watched for a minute or two. Plus, it was late, about 1 o'clock in the morning. I need some rest. You can hear it in my voice when I don't get enough sleep. My voice kind of is deeper. So, officials already sent a white Romanian home with nothing rather than the gold she won fair and square, fabricating excluders. Oh, really? I didn't see that, Keith. Yeah, no, that's like the Olympics is always full of crap and cheating. I'll tell you what. The American women are very fortunate, very fortunate. Now, they won the game fair and square, but very fortunate. But I will tell you this. Watch the women's Olympic gold medal game. Oh, my gosh. Traveling all the time. My goodness. I only saw 1 travel call, and I saw at least a half a dozen travels in the last 10 minutes of the game. Unbelievable. I mean, these women walk across the court. And they have a tiny basketball that it's like a third the size. It's so tiny, anybody can make the shot. It's crazy. Yes, Hong Kong's corporate tax haven, Taiwan. Yeah, so I'm going to cross the local aviation site, Brian Air. Okay, send me a link, Garrett, and I'll check into it. All right, folks, water shedding is looming for Durban, according to the Independent Line. Of course, now the Independent Line is the publication of Mr. Survey, a man who's busy embroiled in a couple lawsuits. They're going to see him with a lot less coin in his pocket when it's over. Yep. But anyway, the Independent Line, which loves to run stories that are alarmist, Lee Lowe found a way to do a super chat. Look at that, folks. We are going to have to get really excited about that. Yeah, Hercules. Thank you so much, Lee. Waiting for that to come up. Anyway, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get this up. Now, it's going to be a double blink because I never opened this window before. There it is. See, isn't that annoying? That's something going on with my software. It's been going on for about 6 months now. Don't know why it does that. Anyway, I have to open the software, then go to everything I'm going to open. If it's a video or it's a window or something like that, I have to open it real quick so that it comes up and then it's there. But for some reason, anyway, not a problem for you guys. Water shedding looms for Durban. eTiquini residents need to brace for water shedding as the city races against time to beef up their water capacity before it runs dry. I can confirm there's a high possibility of water shedding to come. The reality is that there's just not enough water for the city. How long this will last depends on how long it takes to ensure enough capacity to meet demand. Wow, that is from Durban, Morningside area. Aaron Smith, the DA counselor. As a country and as a city, we have to address both the supply and demand of water. The reality is that South Africa is a water-scarce community due to physical limits, low average rainfall, hot climate, poor management, and inefficient use. Well, the last two are true. At the same time, our average consumption is 235 liters per person per day, whilst the world average is 173 liters per day. Yeah, the problem with that, folks, the water consumption is that's not per capita. It's not you consuming 235 liters per day. Oh, there's Lee's super chat. Thank you, Lee. I'm gonna party like it's 1999. Thanks a lot, Lee. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. 70 rand. Man, I thought it was gonna be 70 million. Can you even do that? I don't think so. Not on a credit card. Anyway, yeah. So the real issue here is the 235 liters vice the global average of 173. Bear in mind, the global average includes people living in Niger, people living in the Sahel, in Mali, people living in the Sahara, the Tuaregs. All those people are factored into that global consumption, and those people use almost nothing. The reason South Africa has a much higher per capita water consumption rate is because you have industry, and industry consumes a lot of water. Yep, that is all part of it. So, all the water usage goes in there. Lee says, keep hoping. We in Europe are used to political voting in the Eurovision Song Contest. It's not objective in gathering standard music. But no, it's not. Eurovision is just about whoever shiny penny people like. It's not even the best music. Kano wants to know if Gate McKenzie succeeded at bringing F1. I saw on Twitter that Rwanda is negotiating to hold a Grand Prix. Yeah, I think South Africa probably could get the Formula One because of Cape Town, because it's an iconic location. I think they could do that, but Rwanda would be a surprise. We'll see. We did have the, was it E1 or whatever it is, the electric car stuff? Ronaldo went to that. That's right. Much of the water is for cooling and industry. And when you have an industrial base, your per capita consumption of water skyrockets. So it's very misleading and dishonest for the media to tell you that. Now, the water needed for industry is not the same water needed for drinking consumption, so you can mess around with that. Cape Town will be a street race. Kalim. What is Kalim, Lee? Anyway, so moving on from that, security has been beefed up at the Oberberg High School after a pupil's body, a 16-year-old girl, was found stuffed in a storeroom. Horrific situation. Devaney Nell, a grade 10 pupil at Overberg, was found dead in a storeroom. Photos were widely circulated on social media after she failed to catch her lift home to Grabal. Western Cape Education Department said schooling at the Overberg High School in Caledon would continue today after a grade 10 pupil's body was found in a storeroom. Wow. There are no words that could provide comfort right now, but our thoughts are with them at this time. The school community is understandably traumatized and distressed by the incident. Our department's psychologists and social workers are working with other organizations to provide counseling support for learners. Good Lord. What a sick world it is. A 16-year-old life ended. Black parties unite. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be making a video when I get a chance of this. This is becoming a disturbing trend in South Africa. South African politicians talking about black parties. Ladies and gentlemen, for those unaware of the demographics of South Africa, it is 4 out of 5 people are black African that live in South Africa. I'm not talking about colors, I'm not talking about Indians, I'm not talking about whites. 4 out of 5 people in South Africa are black. And that constitutes an overwhelming majority. Therefore, there is no reason for groups that are overwhelming majority to make the claim that they need to band together because they're at a disadvantage. They're a super majority. Black South Africans are now a super majority. They used to be just 60%, a majority of the population. Now they're 80%. So there's no need for the Black Lawyers Association, the Black Business Forum, but now we have black parties. There's no such thing as a black political party. And if there is, then maybe we should have white parties. I mean, isn't that silly? And of course it's silly. Political parties shouldn't represent skin pigmentation, but rather people's political views and desires. Yeah. So this is just racism in its worst rampant form. In America, we have the Congressional Black Caucus, which is a bizarre, twisted, sick, racist organization. And people are going to castigate me for saying that, but it is. There's no white Congressional Caucus. Imagine in America, where 76% of the population is white, it used to be 89, 76% of the population is white, we have a white Congressional Caucus in Congress. Oh my gosh, the fodder for that would be going on for days. But now we have a black political parties, according to black politicians. This is the third instance of this in the past week that I've seen. And that's why I'm going to do a video about it. I'm talking about it now, but this is retarded. Black parties unite for what? Deputy Minister Masondo breaks ranks with other South African Communist Party leaders on the Government of National Unity. Deputy Finance Minister David Masondo delivered a second annual memorial lecture at the University of South Africa. He doubles as the South African Communist Party's Deputy Secretary General. He spoke out against the call for black parties to unite regardless of their ideologies. Black parties. Now, he's not the one making the claim, but others are. This is just ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. At a recent school meeting, Secretary General Saleh Mapila railed against the Government of National Unity and the EFF exclusion. When they did that, we realized that we've been hit because the ANC has been pushed once more to a corner. We, the communists, have never stopped the ANC from talking to the MK party. We told them to talk to everyone, as they've said, but we also told them that ideally to establish government, they should say no to the forces of state capture and forces of neoliberalism in austerity. Neoliberalism. That's exactly what the ANC is. It's a neoliberal party, although it's a black supremacist party at the same time these days. Coca-Cola, take a lot of water. What are you talking about, Cabello? If Botswana's smart, maybe they have to make a circuit. No, no one's going to have a Formula One race in Botswana. You could have the Dakar Rally in Botswana. You could do that. Well, Martin, I agree with you. I don't get the black party thing either. And not just that, they're supposed to work for all South Africans. But when Jacob Zuma claims that they want traditional African law, which is non-existent. There's no conflict. I can find a document from the 18th century called the Declaration of Independence. I can find the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers. I can find the Constitution of the United States drafted in 1787, ratified in 1789. We're talking well over 200 years ago. I can find these things, but I cannot find a codified African law, traditional African law, because it's oral and it's bullshit. It's not for all people in Africa. It's for tribal groups. Yeah. And so when Jacob Zuma makes this claim that we're going to get rid of Roman Dutch law, is that not wrong? Black apartheid retards. Exactly. That's what's going on here. Arctic says more and more. Jacob Zuma wants that to increase the gender-based violence. Huh? I have no idea what you're talking about there. Duplessis versus Adesanya will take place this week. Yeah, in Australia, correct? And I don't really care. I don't watch that. You're talking about Dricus. If the Grand Prix comes to South Africa, it will be Kyalami. The street circuit in Cape Town does not meet F1 stairs. Okay, I know nothing about it, Alan. I'm just saying it's an iconic location. Where the heck is Kyalami? Where's Kyalami? Exactly. Traditional African law does not exist on paper. Ergo, it's made up as you go along. Exactly. Exactly right. They only want to get rid of it because it's biting them in the ass. Correct. Correct. If it wasn't preventing them from their wholesale kleptocracy and theft and patronage, which is very much traditional African methods of survival, then they wouldn't be worried about it. So, control your livestock. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said many, many times that I do not drive in Africa after dark. Exceptions in major metropolitan areas, and very seldom. Just don't do it. It's a rule. Why? Because people walk on the street. They're not very obvious, wearing dark clothing, having dark pigmentation, and not walking at you. You don't see them. That's a danger. Also, I mean, Malawi is a perfect example of that country of 16 million people, and there's like one road. Everybody's on it at night, walking, and they're dark skin. Then you also have wildlife crossing, elephants and other wildlife crossing the road, water buffalo, Cape buffalo. You've got, and in South Africa and Botswana and Namibia, less so in Namibia, but certainly in Botswana and South Africa, you have a very serious concern with livestock where it's not fenced in properly, and you hit them with your car and you wind up dead. So I just don't drive at night. I remember when that nonsense with my visa in South Africa in January of last year, it was actually February last year when I was at the border post at Kopfontein, Tlokweng, and the lady said, I can't let you leave the country. I said, why? She said, because you've overstayed your visa. And I'm like, what? And then here I am. It's winter time, or summertime, excuse me, and it's like broiling out there. It was like 40 plus degrees. I'm melting. I can't get a signal between the South African towers and the Botswana towers. And I finally get a message out, and I have to hit the road and drive like 130 kilometers an hour all the way back to Linwood. And I got back as the sun set. That was something I wasn't happy about, but I just don't drive at night. And here's a perfect example why you shouldn't drive at night in South Africa and Botswana. Control your livestock. Taxi driver and passenger killed in crash after vehicle hits a stray cow. 2 people, a taxi driver and a passenger, lost their lives, while 18 other travelers were taken to the Ganyesa District Hospital in Northwest after a bakkie collided with a stray animal. And I was just talking about what province? Northwest province. The road accident happened on the R378 near Ganyesa on the direction of Morokweng on Saturday night. Traffic officers who attended the scene revealed that a Toyota Hilux bakkie collided with a stray animal, a cow, which led to the collision with another car, a Toyota Quantum minibus. During the crash, the taxi lost control and landed on its side. My goodness. The accidents caused on road by livestock are increasing. My plea is for our community to make sure that your livestock are kept in safe areas, especially during the night, as our villages are dark at night and the visibility is very poor. Yeah, no. When I did when I met with the Forum for Democrats on my first trip in 2022, and then afterwards met with the farmers in Northwest, I had to leave, and I went very slowly because it was very dark to drive to where I was staying that night. So, if correct, Mackenzie said he wants to bring Formula One to. Yeah, that's correctly. South African government want tribal law back, then they're going to have to get something like what exists for 1904. Yeah, no, you're right, Keith. That's what's going on. I don't drive major cities at night either. Well, I don't blame you. Usage. You mean USA cities? Why don't you drive in USA cities? They're safe. Not to mention Escom. Yeah, with streetlights, exactly. Okay, Akano disagrees. He says Kyalami is not fit for it. Cape Town. I don't know, folks. Oh, near Midrand. Thank you, Dylan. Saw a car that hit a cow near Hoedspruit. The car was mangled. The cow did not look too good either. Yeah. No, poverty has nothing to do with watching your livestock. Responsibility has everything to do with your livestock. Yep. No way Formula One is coming back with current crime levels. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. All right. Death toll in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and I report the story because South African troops are currently there. God knows why. The death toll of 2 attacks in Eastern DRC has climbed to at least 18, with 14 people missing. North Kivu and South Kivu. No one can go to recover the bodies. They're still lying on the ground. The ADF, originally mainly Muslim Ugandan rebels, have established a presence over the past 3 decades in eastern Congo, killing thousands of civilians. The group pledged allegiance in 2019 to the Islamic State group. The ADF has also been blamed for an attack that killed 20 at the end of July. Man, Congo, never going to be solved. Tanzania has rounded up political opposition figures, and their repression continues. Tanzanian police have detained leading opposition Chadema party figures, including former presidential candidate Tundu Lissu, and rounded up several hundred youth supporters. The Chadema leaders were arrested in the southwestern city of Mbeya, where the party was due to hold a rally on Monday to mark International Youth Day. About 500 youth supporters had also been arrested by police as they were making their way to the Mbeya gathering and were escorted back home. Tanzanian police announced Sunday a ban on the Chadema youth gathering, accusing the party of planning violent demonstrations. Wow. Well, repression continues around the world. All we need is more Kamala, and we'll have more of that, more repression. China supports Iran. Well, this is the axis of evil, folks. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Unbelievable. Throw Syria in there, but they're just junior partners. China supports Iran in defending security, says the foreign minister. China supports Iran in defending its sovereignty, security, and national dignity. Screw national dignity. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi told Iran's acting foreign minister in a phone call. In the phone call, Wang repeated Beijing's denunciation of the assassination of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. But strangely enough, the Chinese did not condemn the harvesting of organs from Uyghurs and Falun Gong members in China. China did not condemn its human rights abuses. China did not condemn its ecological crimes in the South China Seas. China did not condemn its piracy. China did not condemn its intellectual property theft. China did not condemn its sterilization of Uyghurs and Falun Gong. Strange that, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't that straight? Isn't that strange? Germany, France, and Britain have betrayed Israel, calling for a ceasefire. Germany, France, and Britain called Monday for a Gaza ceasefire while Israel braced for a large-scale attack. The fighting must end now, and all hostages still detained by Hamas must be released. The people of Gaza need urgent, unfettered delivery and distribution of aid. I have a better solution. How about all of the Palestinians in Gaza simply relocate to Syria? Problem solved. The fascist Islamic State murdered so many people in Syria. There's plenty of empty housing, plenty of facilities for them. Just move them from Gaza to there. They're Arabs. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. It's a made-up thing to appease people. Just move them there. Yeah, then there won't be a war. Well, the curtain has come down on a controversial Olympic game, the Olympiad in Paris, with its demonic insult to Christians the world over, with women being pummeled in the boxing ring, with U.S. boxing officials whining, apparently, to get an all-black podium, with athletes bowing like they're obsequious slaves to gold medal winners, ridiculous nonsense, with the U.S. domination in basketball almost coming to an end as France nearly pulled it off in the gold medal final, with its corrupt officials in gymnastics and in other sports that are judgment calls and points-based. Yeah, the Olympics has ended, and the United States has gotten its, lost in all the talk about the Chinese communists and their goal, is that the United States has achieved its highest medal level in decades. Yes, I know the Russians weren't there, but they wouldn't have performed that well. The U.S. still would have done well. The United States has achieved, with 126 medals, the most medals it's achieved in a long time. Now, you're going to go back and look at it and go, Chris, you're wrong. In Los Angeles, the United States had far more medals. Yes, but Los Angeles does not count because the Soviet Union, which was very competitive as compared to Russia today, which is much less competitive, the Soviet Union was the most competitive nation in the world, and typically with the U.S. up there, number 1 and 2, whereas Russia is much lower on the table these days. The Soviet Union boycotted the Los Angeles Olympics, so I do not count that total. Those medals count, but I don't count that as, that's an outlier. And you have to pull that out. The United States has not received this many medals in decades. And so this was the best medal performance by the United States in donkey years. And nobody's mentioning that except me. Everyone's fascinated by the gold medals. I don't really care about the gold medals. I care about the medal total. Every one of those is an achievement. And people want to ignore it. John Jarvis saying removed from both of your WhatsApp groups is still bothering me. John, I'm not aware if you've been removed from 2 groups. That's news to me. If you mail me, will I read it? Well, yes, but understand that I'm very busy and I may not get to it till later in the week. But you're welcome to email me, John. And I understand why it bothers you. You know that you behave very poorly in at least one of the groups. I don't know about the other one. And you're very insulting to people. And I was willing to let you back, but I had a riot on my hand. So I didn't do it because, I mean, I would have lost all my moderators and a whole bunch of people. As it is, that group, I lost a lot of people. I mean, that group dropped by 40% when you were acting like a fool in there and a couple other people were. People just left because of the toxic environment. And I've never recovered in that group. And so, I mean, you know, I'll listen to your email. I'll read it. But, I mean, you're going to have to make a very strong case because why should I trust that you're going to come in there and behave? You're behaving in chat now, but then you don't behave in chat sometimes. So, look, I'm not attacking you. You brought the topic up. I'm just answering your question. So I'll read the email. But my moderators and I don't understand why you have to behave like that. Why do you have to attack people personally in there? I don't understand what that's all about. Anyway, you may feel like they're attacking you, but anyway. Exactly. There's no time for bullshit and spam on WhatsApp. It's a place to share information. Just a place to share information. So anyway, what else? Many conurbations here in the UK switch off their street. That's an urban area. Streetlights around midnight so we can head towards net zero. Yeah, and that's when the crime spikes. Isn't that nice? They turn the lights off at midnight so the criminals can escape. UK is full of cameras, but they're not IR cameras. My dad and us had a Dodge Cat on the highway found between 2 cows. Almost crashed in a cow in the early 90s. Yep. Cricket World Cup they can keep. Oh, what about Cricket World Cup? What's going on? In the old days, you had the cheapest electricity in the world in South Africa. You did, because it was all subsidized. We can't even get a Rugby World Cup, so Mackenzie should focus on that. Yeah, no, I think that's a better idea. All right, what else we got here? The other Muslim countries won't accept the Gaza refugees for a reason. Exactly. Arctic says you're going to do a regular AM broadcast. What do you mean by regular, Arctic? Do you mean, am I going to do it going forward from now on while I do AM broadcasts? No, yeah, by your taxes. That's correct. And many people were free riders on that. Now, as I said, this is because I am doing consulting today. This morning, I don't have to go in until 10. I don't have to be there until 10. It's a half-hour drive, so I leave here at 9:30. So when I'm off the air in about 40 minutes, I'll change, and I'll hit the road, and I'll be there, and I'll spend the day there. I will probably do a mobile broadcast later on from my phone, like I typically do. Third time lucky, Colonel. Okay, good. Yeah, so, sorry, I was just reading a comment over here. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm doing this morning. I will consider doing it this week. I just have to get up early enough and not be knackered, you know. This is the only thing I got going on. By the way, I did manage to get part of my lawn cut last night and do some weeding. I had some terrible weeds. It had some deep roots. And got bedded in just a couple of weeks. Yeah, so I managed to cut the front and sides of my property last night. I've got to do the back still. The Gulf Coordination Council all know radical Islam is a major problem. They don't want anything to do with it. Hence, that's why they add intelligence support. Aided. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. So the curtain comes down on a controversial Olympiad. The U.S. and China ended the games at 40 gold medals each, but the U.S. topped the table because they had more silver medals. No, because we had more medals total. Hollywood star Tom Cruise abseiled from the roof of the Stade de France, drawing gasps from spectators as Paris bade farewell to Olympics, hailed as one of the most successful. Yeah, but it lost $2 billion, so how's it successful? In a preview to what we can expect the next event in Los Angeles, 62-year-old Mission Impossible star was then shown on screen boarding a plane and skydiving in the California city before adorning iconic Hollywood sign. Okay. So there he is, Tom Cruise. No wonder they had so much attention on him. All right. French swimmer Léon Marchand carries a lantern containing Olympic flame. 9,000 athletes danced and sang the night away at the closing ceremony. I wonder if they insulted people again. So here you go. There's their medal total. USA, 126, 40 gold, 44 silver, 42 bronze. Chi-Coms, 40 gold, 27 silver, 24 bronze. France got 64 medals in total. There you go. 8th consecutive women's basketball title for the U.S. gave them the best team performance in the history of the Olympiad, modern. Yeah, the Olympics is over. And while there were some exciting moments, good riddance, check out these hefty weights. There you go. U.S. and China tied for gold at the Olympics. Some in China disagree. Look at this idiocy of, hailing the person in the center. Now, that's the Chi-Com who got their 40th gold medal. China's 40 gold medals, the Olympic Games, tied it with the U.S. for the most in first place for the most prestigious medal column, triggering pride, but also defiance and a suggestion among some that China actually won. Yeah, okay. And this is why. No. We have 44 gold medals. We have Chinese Taipei and Hong Kong, wrote one user. 98,000 likes. Yeah, well, screw that. That's BS. 44 gold medals. No. Nope. Yep. China's anti-doping agency said all the swimmers inadvertently ingested small amounts of a heart drug by eating tainted food while staying at the same hotel. The Chinese are doping and they're blaming it on the hotel's data. That's like New Zealand blaming South Africa for food poisoning. Except that actually might be a little bit true. What's going on here? United States rushes firepower to the Middle East as Israel braces for retaliation. The Pentagon confirmed late Sunday that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordered the dispatch of USS Georgia, a guided missile submarine, to the region and sped up the speed of a carrier fleet group headed there. Yep. Ordered the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, which is equipped with F-35C fighter jets, to accelerate its ongoing transit to the area. And oh man, the Biden regime or whoever's at the wheel is leading us into global conflagration. We are headed to global conflagration thanks to the demon rats and the idiots in Congress who are just clueless. These people have no business ruling anything, let alone a kindergarten crash. James Brown, I feel good. Best recent sports news, Argentina 30. Yeah, that was fantastic. Well, that wasn't the best. Winning in Brisbane was the best. That was the second best. Yep. At this rate, I doubt we'll make it to the next Olympics. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. We might see global conflagration. We might have war in Europe, immigrants being chased out, and then have war in America. Same sort of thing. Americans fighting Americans. Who knows what's going on? But in the meantime, we don't have 7 continents. And no, it's not Antarctica that we're scratching off the list. It's North America. Yeah, we don't exist. Yeah, James Brown does feel good. That's good to see. But you got a tartan there. Are you Scottish? So, Earth may now only have 6 continents instead of 7. Say what? Growing up, we all learned about Earth's 7 continents: Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America. But these boundaries have been taught as an integral part of our education system forever. However, new research suggests that this long-held belief may not be correct. According to Dr. Jordan Pathan, not Peterson, and his dedicated team, we actually have only 6. The bold claim comes from a detailed study that looks into the geological processes behind the breakup of the European and North American continents. Dr. Jordan Pathan, the lead author of the study from the University of Derby, of course the UK is screwing up everything, highlights a significant shift. He said the discovery indicates that North American and Eurasian tectonic plates have not yet actually broken apart, as is traditionally thought to have happened 52 million years ago. Instead, these plates are still stretching in the process of breaking apart. Iceland's connection to Earth's continents. The study focuses on Iceland, a volcanic island nestled between Greenland and Sea and the North Atlantic. It is traditionally believed that Iceland emerged around 60 million years ago as a result of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The tectonic boundary formed by the North American Eurasian plates is thought to have facilitated the rise of a hot mantle plume that ultimately created the island. However, recent findings challenge this long-standing theory. So now we have just 6 continents. No, we don't. We have 7 continents, and Pluto's a planet. And if you don't like it, too bad. Yep. Yeah, France didn't do so well in the Olympics. For the home side, that was not a very impressive performance. Sweden's snitch law, which is meant to turn in criminal alien invaders, is bothering the leftists. That's right, folks. The proposal which would force public sector workers to report undocumented people. Criminal alien invaders. People who've violated your sovereignty. People who have zero respect for your country, for your culture, for your language, for your society, or your safety. Screw them and kick them out. undocumented. They're not undocumented. They're documented somewhere. They just chose to be criminals. They made a conscious decision to violate your law. They made a conscious choice to be a criminal. They are criminals. Criminals. Come out. You understand the words coming out of my mouth? Don't nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth. Sorry, that's Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Anyway, so don't nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth. Shut up, Tucker. Shut up, Tucker. Anyway, so Sweden snitch law. The leftists are up in arms. Yes, doctors, social workers, and librarians are among those in Sweden who have sounded the alarm over a proposal being explored by the government-appointed committee that would force public sector workers to report undocumented people to authorities. Okay, excuse me. So, agents of the government don't report criminals? Isn't that their role? Isn't that the purpose of government, to report criminals, to get rid of criminals, to deport criminal alien invaders? Not provide services to them at the expense of taxpayers and citizens? Seriously? What a bunch of morons. The proposals referred to as the snitch law by some was among many measures, including the 2022 agreement struck between 4 parties in the country, and they say right wing. The deal paved the way for coalition government. Yeah, nearly 2 years after the agreement, they're still seeking to get implemented. Well, I think they should do that. Absolutely should do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have sad news. Sad news. We have to switch microphones for this one so I get the deeper bass on it. Hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have sad news today. If you go to McDonald's in France, you'll no longer be able to get curry sauce for your McNuggets. For your mechanically separated chickens, you can no longer get curry sauce because the French are angry at Stefan Curry.
Oh, my goodness. You got to love the French. French McDonald's threatened to remove menu item after Stefan Curry breaks country's Olympic hearts. Stefan Curry's gold medal. Oh, there's a super chat. Oh, look at that Lilo's second super chat. Thank you, Lee. Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much for that. Stefan Curry's, oops, we got zipped there. Gold medal performance of the weekend was enough to propel the United States to the gold medal. Has McDonald's in France rethinking one of their sauces. The company joked on social media on Sunday it was having to rethink its classic curry sauce in face of the NBA star's Herculean effort against France. He was unbelievable. Stefan Curry won this game for them. Yet, for obvious reasons, we are considering removing this sauce for 4 years minimum till the next Olympics. The French are likely feeling a bit blue after Curry had a 24-point performance and knocked down 4 3-pointers in the final 3 minutes of the game to seal the gold medal for the United States. It was his 3-pointer that fell with 33 seconds left on the clock that put the United States up by 9 and broke France's hearts. He had 3 people on him, and he was fouled, and he sunk it. He didn't get the foul call, though. I've seen that from Steph a few times, but it never gets old, said Warriors teammate and head coach. Not teammate, head coach Steve Kerr. Yep. So they're going to ban the curry sauce at McDonald's. I love it. My goodness. Wildfires are triggering evacuations in Greece, folks. That's right. People have been told to flee as flames start to consume towns around Athens. Towns and villages around Athens are being evacuated. Look at that. Is this an old photo? They're still doing work. They were working on the Acropolis when I was there in 2004. We're still working on it. Authorities on Monday ordered the evacuation of hospitals, a monastery, and more than a dozen areas as a large fire approached. The blaze, which hundreds of firefighters are battling, is just the latest in a summer that has Greece baking in record temperatures. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. The blaze, with flames as high as 25 meters, spread like lightning due to gale force winds. Ooh. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis rushed back to Athens from Crete to oversee response efforts. It's not looking good for Athens, folks. Russia has ordered more evacuations after the innocent Ukrainians invaded Russia, an incursion into its territory on its 7th day now. Russian authorities on Monday evacuating civilians from more areas along the Ukrainian border weakened Kiev's surprise cross-border invasion. Vyacheslav Gladkov, the governor of the Belgorod region of southern Russia, said people living in the, good Lord, these are hard names, Krasnoyarozhsky district are being relocated to safer places. We had a disturbing morning. Enemy activities on the border of Krasnoyarsk district. I'm sure that the military will do everything to cope with this threat, but to protect the life and health of our people, we are beginning to relocate people to safer places. Well, there you go. The innocent Ukrainians under Volodymyr Zelensky are attacking innocent Russians. In his first interview since being pushed out of the race in a palace coup, Sleepy Joe Biden says that Donald Trump is a threat to the U.S. Well, actually, you're the threat, clown boy. He added that he dropped out of the presidential race because he didn't want to be a distraction. Also discussed Israel's war. He didn't want to be a distraction. A distraction. You were running for president. How is that a distraction, you moron? Joe Biden, what an ass. CBS News Sunday morning. The polls we had showed that it was neck and neck. No, the polls showed you were down by 8 and 10 points in all the battleground states, and he was up by 5 nationally. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. So because you were going to hurt the down ballot races, you dropped out. What a wuss. What a wuss. What a wuss. Joe Biden. Well, Donald Trump says the first debate with brainless Kamala will take place here in Harrisburg. Wow, that's exciting. Former President Trump has announced on his social media platform that the first debate will take place in Harrisburg on Fox News on September 4th. Okay. We don't know where. Thank God it's not happening in Philadelphia. That's cool. I wonder if they have an audience. Fox News. Tim Walz's $250 million program to feed hungry school kids spent money fraudulently. Oh, surprise, surprise. Not at all. Between 2022 and 2024, 70 people in charge in connection with a fraud scheme that resulted in a $250 million. Is the loss $250 million or is the program $250 million? Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is facing renewed scrutiny for a $250 million fraud scandal in Minnesota that critics say falls on his shoulders as governor. Wow. The Feeding Our Future program, a federally funded meal assistance program meant to give free meals to eligible school children and adults. But the government has perverted the free lunch meal to create bizarre standards so that almost every student, well, actually every student in school gets free meals. So we're paying for free lunch for everyone's kids now, not just the poor. It's just ridiculous. This is a scumbag federal program. Yep. Unbelievable. At least $250 million was stolen by fraudsters. Wow. Under his watch. The failures we highlight in this report are symptoms of a department that was ill-prepared to respond to the issues it encountered with Feeding Our Future. He's the chief executive of state. All the people in the Department of Education and other departments where fraud were taking place were appointed by him. So he appoints a commissioner, the deputy commissioner, assistant commissioners. They're all appointed by him. They all report to him. And these are the folks whom the legislative auditor has documented failed to do the job. So where does the buck stop? Well, let's just stop with Timmy Walz. Americans refusing to pay high prices for ridiculously outpriced products is hurting many big corporations and forcing us to alternatives or simply going without. As I've said, traditionally I go to 25 to 30 Hershey Bears games. Hershey raising their prices over the past 9 years from $12 to $16 a ticket to $24 to $39 a ticket, and raising the parking price when almost every other minor league hockey team parking is free, raising the parking price from $5 to $20 per game, a 400% increase. A 400% increase in 9 years means I don't go to Hershey Bears games anymore. And it's a shame. It's cheaper to pay for the subscription online to watch all the games. Going to a game costs a fortune. And if you have a family of 4 or a family of 6, you're really screwed. So these idiots have priced themselves out of the market. I don't want to hear that they have higher costs. We all have higher costs because they keep raising their prices. Energy is down. Yesterday I topped off my car and got petrol, and the price of energy dropped 40 cents a gallon since 2 weeks ago when I got petrol last time. 40 cents a gallon in August. The price of gasoline never drops in August. If you want to see the sign of a poor economy, look at the United States in August when people are traveling around at the end of summer all over the country, consuming petrol in record amounts, and look at the price of petrol falling 40 cents a gallon. How does that happen? It happens because the price of oil has declined because of global uncertainty and economic contraction. We are in a global recession, which the world economic officials refuse to admit. We are in a recession, and they refuse to admit it. And we've been in a recession for some time. And they give these fancy cooked up fake numbers and claim this, that, and the other. But the reality is that with only 140,000 jobs created in July, that is a shockingly low figure. I don't know how that rates historically, but I know that's among the lowest figures in recent history. 140,000 jobs in a country with 190 million employment positions, 190 million jobs, and we created 140,000. That's a joke. 1.4 million in 100 million would be 1.4%. 1.4 million in a 200 million economy would be 0.5%. 140,000 in 190 million is a fraction of a percentage of jobs. That is distressing. In the summertime, when the economy is normally booming and growing, this is ridiculous. This is a problem. Now, I welcome the price of petrol dropping by 40 cents, but it's still nearly twice what it was. Well, it's over twice what it was when Donald Trump was president. This is an economy in trouble. And people not buying things is not going to cause deflation. It's going to cause economic misery. And people aren't buying things because they're outrageously priced. I mean, look at this. Americans' refusal to keep paying higher prices may be dealing a final blow to U.S. inflation, except that it's not, because inflation has been highest not in the price of new cars, not in the price of DVD players or Blu-ray players or televisions. In fact, the price of televisions have come down considerably. It's not in computers. It's not in clothing. The inflation is in food and energy and transportation, the three things that you cannot do without. I can not buy Coca-Cola and buy Walmart cola. I can not buy cola altogether and just drink water out of the tap. But I cannot change my electricity. I can turn off all the lights and I can sweat my house by turning off the aircon, but I'm still going to pay an outrageous rate. I still have to eat, and I can switch from buying this to that, but eventually even that is too expensive. Energy, food, and transportation are the three biggest costs, and that is where the inflation has been. So the Voice of America can write this article and lie to the world, but it's simply not true. The great inflation spike the past 3 years is nearly spent, and economists credit American consumers for helping slay it. Some of America's largest companies, from Amazon to Disney to Yum Brands, say that their customers are increasingly seeking cheaper alternative products and services, searching for bargains, or just avoiding items they deem too expensive. While inflation is down, prices are still high. And see, inflation is not down. That's a lie. It's a lie. Inflation is still on the march. It's just not increasing at the level that it was. Instead of 9%, it's at 4%. Inflation is still increasing. Ladies and gentlemen, a bag of Doritos taco-flavored chips that cost $1.89 3 years ago, and that was expensive, $7 on sale for $6.29 at the local supermarket. You think I'm going to pay $7 for a bag of chips? You're high. I don't buy Frappuccinos every day. I used to buy them every day. They're $7.49 for a Frappuccino now. Who do these people think? I mean, and my income has been halved, and I'm supposed to pay this nonsense? I just go without. I go without. Oh, Val gets to chat again, and now she's leaving to go shopping. The entire world is in recession. Yep. Exactly. We are in recession. Diesel should have dropped by 5 rand. Yeah, well, if they reduced their usage. Voice of America dodged the media outlet woke like The Guardian. Yes and no. Yeah. If you're living in the UK or European Union, what's better, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump? Cheat is cheat. So, yeah, okay. Cumulative inflation continues. Yeah, and the prices are still going up. Okay. What else? Not all of Trump's economic policies worked, and he did also contribute to the current increase in national debt. Okay, let's be very clear there, Icano, that you have to give full context of him contributing to the debt. First off, Biden, Trump, Obama, there's very little they can do to curb debt. Only 22% of the federal budget is discretionary. The president only gets to decide 22% of the budget that he submits to Congress. The other 78% is determined by congressional mandates, laws signed by presidents. So less than a quarter of the budget. So if you have a deficit, if you defund 22% of the budget, then you cease government operations. So it's impossible to trim the budget until we deal with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, these out-of-control entitlement programs, which are not in the Constitution and are not legitimate. So that's where the problem is. But no one has the moral courage to say and do what needs to be done with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And so when you blame Trump or Biden or Obama, that is unfair in that aspect. However, in the case of Trump, he did have this ridiculous stimulus package when the government illegitimately shut down, unconstitutionally shut down our society. And that's how he contributed to the debt. The rest of the debt that accrued during his time is beyond his control. Joe Biden, we could say the same thing, except Joe Biden spend $1 trillion on a bullshit infrastructure program. It's the same infrastructure program that Trump wanted to do for $600 billion, and he was denied by Congress. They refused to approve it, and as soon as Biden came in, they approved an $842 billion program. So nearly $1 trillion on infrastructure, and none of which I've seen. There's no new roads, there's no new bridges, no new highways in any place I've been, whether it's here, New York, Maryland, New Jersey, Chicago, all these places I've been the past 3 years, Las Vegas, none of that. I've seen none of this infrastructure. So Biden increased the debt by $1 trillion there for no return. And then this year alone, he's increased the budget by $2 trillion. Now that is something a president can do, and it's out of control. So there you have it. But yes, you want to say Trump increased the debt? True. Absolutely true. But he has very little control over 78% of the budget. He has no control over it. So that's unfair. Now, you can hold him for the stimulus just like you can hold Joe Biden for the infrastructure plan. But on top of that, Biden is increasing spending by another $2 trillion of deficit spending. Yeah. What economic policies that Trump tried didn't work? Rescinding 10,000 federal regulations? Worked. Lowering the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21%? Worked. Cutting taxes? Worked. Record revenues came into the federal government in the form of personal income taxes. So what of his policies didn't work? Maybe sanctions on China. That might be an argument. Yep. Heard on a radio channel that here in the UK that Trump is now down to polls compared to Kamala. Yes and no. So again, that's context. Even the Washington Post actually put the true figures out. So they're taking polls every 5 minutes. So this changes by the hour. Yes, with the free billion-dollar media blitz and lies, and Kamala Harris refusing to give a press conference in 22 days, and all of the $360 million running attack ads on Trump and lies about Kamala Harris, yes, she has risen in the polls from where Biden was at. But then, anything could rise from there. So here's the thing. Nationally, the polls are talking about, but it doesn't matter. The country we don't pick presidents nationally. So you could have a 50 to 47 lead nationally and lose the election. Just ask Hillary Clinton. She lost the election because we correctly pick our presidents based on electoral college outcome, which is based on the popular vote in all but 2 states. And even there, it's somewhat based on popular vote. So Hillary Clinton won the election in 2016 in the popular vote by over 3 million votes. And they like to crow about that. But what they don't tell you is that those 3 million votes, all of them were the difference in California. California alone. In California, Hillary Clinton got over 8 million votes. Donald Trump got 3.9 million. Therefore, she won the state by 4.1 million votes. She won the presidential race by 2.9 million votes. So all of the difference in the entire country was attributable to California alone. You take California out of the race, and Hillary Clinton is obliterated. 54 electoral votes, gone. 8 million personal votes. So Hillary Clinton drops, and Donald Trump wins the election by over 2 million votes if California is not in the race. Think about that for a second. So that's what really matters here. Donald Trump, there are 8 battleground states that will decide this election. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona. In those 8 states, Michigan, in those 8 states, according to the Washington Post and the polls that they've shown just 4 days ago, before the weekend, Donald Trump was leading in 6 of the 8 states by 5 points or more. In a 7th state, he was in a virtual tie with her. He was leading in a virtual tie, so it was called a tie. And in the 8th state, Wisconsin, I think it was, she was winning by 0.9%. That's where a race matters. Now, they're claiming that in those battleground states in the past 3 or 4 days, she's gained ground and she's ahead of him. I don't know what to believe. But you also have to remember this, folks. You have to remember this. A lot of people who vote for Donald Trump will lie to pollsters and will lie to their neighbors and friends. Oh, I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for him. We saw a 2 to 4% difference in the vote from what the polls told us in 2016, 2020, who people actually did vote for Trump. So when it comes to polls, hold your breath on that. Okay? Trafalgar's been relatively accurate, yes. Anyway. The most dangerous words is DA or key. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about there, Lee. We should not underestimate her power to win the elections. Nobody thought Biden would win in 2020. Well, Biden didn't win in 2020. He didn't win. Okay, first off. So I don't underestimate the power either because the media is so corrupt. Maybe Trump will be better because we need to respond to BRICS. Relax. BRICS is nothing, folks. Why do people get so wrapped around the acronym? BRICS is an acronym. Somebody please show me the treaty that established the organization called BRICS. Oh, you can't, because it doesn't exist. Somebody show me the mutual defense agreements in BRICS. Oh, you can't, because it doesn't exist. Somebody show me the bilateral, multilateral trade agreements for BRICS so that trade barriers are reduced and harmonization occurs. Oh, you can't, because it doesn't exist. BRICS does not exist. I don't know how many times I've got to say that. The axis of evil does exist. The axis of evil, of course, is Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran. And South Africa is part and parcel to that. Yep, you're part of the axis of evil by your association with the axis of evil. After Trump's term, will the Republican Party return? Now it's Trump's party. It's not Trump's party. Stop that. See, this is what the press tells people, Econo. That's ridiculous. It's not Trump's party. The Republican Party is in disarray. The Democrats are in even worse disarray. Republican Party is in disarray because it's run by country club rhino Republicans. That's the bottom line. It's not Trump's party. We were here before Donald Trump, and when he's gone, we will be here. Trump is simply appropriating ideas and concepts that we have advocated for decades. Oh my goodness. Charles Icano, are you serious? Now we're going to have an issue here. You like his Middle Eastern foreign policy, but the betrayal of the Kurds was not so Trumpish, means he's always saying us, but it was Russia's. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Russia defeat ISIS. That's nonsense. Russia didn't defeat ISIS. The U.S. defeated ISIS. I know this personally. You think I don't know operators that were present in Syria and Iraq? Russia didn't defeat ISIS. We defeated ISIS. And we did it in 3 months under Donald Trump. Boom, done and dusted. An organization that was spawned because of Barack Obama's juvenile, idiot, pro-Muslim foreign policy and his naivete was destroyed, and it lasted for years, was destroyed and did horrific things to the Yazidis, to Christians, to Jews, to Muslims, was destroyed in 3 months by our U.S. military, not the Russians. All the Russians did was cause chaos. No. And as far as Trump betraying the Kurds, are you serious? You blame Trump for betraying the Kurds? Have you followed history in the 20th century, in the 21st century? Who has not betrayed the Kurds? And what do you mean by betrayal? He didn't know the Kurds anything. The Peshmerga? What are you talking about? No. They have been betrayed by the Iranians, by the Turks, by the Syrians, by the Iraqis, by the British, by the French, by the United Nations. And you're going to say Trump betrayed them? If Trump did betray them, it would be shocking and new. So that's not fair to pick on Trump for that. Come on. All right. Trump's MAGA party reflecting Republican ideology. So when Trump goes, Republican Party will carry on. Exactly. Media extremely egregious. Yep. Biden didn't win. Kamala didn't win. Bye, Chris. What does that mean? Correct ANC is part of the axis of evil. Exactly. Just took some bribes on the evil side, really? I'm sorry. Is it not South Africa's ANC that took Israel to the International Court of Justice? Is it not South Africa's ANC that's ignoring the plight of Sudanese, of Nigerians, and Malians, Burkinabe, Somalis? Yeah, it's the ANC. Icona says, so if they betray them, we can also betray them. Meanwhile, it's not news that the Kurds are the biggest allies of the U.S. Let's not lie. No, Icona, who said that? You're just making stuff up. I never said that. I'm saying your criticism of Trump for that is unjust. I didn't say it was right. Come on. Stop being silly. Stop being silly. Took them to court for a bribe. Well, I know that, Arctic. I was among the first to make that claim. BRIC was invented to try to destroy the dollar. It became BRICS after South. No, it wasn't, Charmaine. BRICS was a total invention. Look, I was there. I've been involved in macroeconomics for years. BRICS is an invention of an economist. It was an acronym meant to describe what he projected would be the rising economies in the first decades of this millennium. Brazil, Russia, India, and China said would surge. The problem is that Russia has languished, and now the war has caused their economic malaise, so Russia has gone down. Brazil has gone nowhere. It's gone slightly up. India has done better, but their population continues to increase, and so they're just treading water. China is the only one of those players that has risen, and they've risen because of artificial reasons. Anyway, Cabela says, thank you, you're welcome. ANC are the Russian, Chinese, and Iran's lapdogs. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're the lapdogs. All right, where was I at over here? Oh, that was all my stories. Okay, cool. I got through all of those for this morning. I'll try to do a stream later on if I can, but we'll see how it goes. Let me get rid of that. Okay, cool beans. That's gone now. Anyway, I don't know. Oh, we got 58 people here now. They want me to put an ad in it. You guys should thank. I don't put ads in. YouTube gives me that option. I'll put them in. Hey, R1, how's it going? Cabela, why are you thanking me, man? Why do you thank me? I'm just saying you're being unjust to Trump. It is unjust. I mean, you're attacking Trump for betraying the Kurds. When did we take care of the Kurds? Under Obama? Under Bush? A little bit. Under Clinton? No. When do we take care of the Kurds? All right, Arctic, take care. Arctic's leaving because I called South Africa the axis of evil. Well, you're under the ANC. What else could you be? Anyway, took them to court for a bribe. Correct. That is 100% correct. Yep, I agree with that 100%. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. It's 9 a.m. I need to hit the road and show up for my appointment over there at Work College, and I'll be busy the rest of the day. I'll try to do a noontime, my noontime, early evening for you guys, okay? Can you do a stream on OHM? What is OHM? Trump betrayed the Kurds. No, he didn't. Prove it. Prove it. Give me an instance of how he betrayed the Kurds. I'm going to hold you to it now. OHM. What is OHM? Charleston, South Carolina? OHM live streaming. What the heck is this? Hermiker, Madison. I have no idea what that is. What is OHM? It's New York. Oh no, they're not going to cover me, Charmaine. No, because the leader of that party is married to the guy who committed a fraudulent copyright strike against me, and I exposed it. So I'm not going to be on there. No. Yeah, Odez. No, that's not going to happen. That guy made a fraudulent copyright strike against me for content that wasn't his and got away with it. And I've exposed it multiple times, so I doubt I'm going to be on there. Yep. Yeah, no, sorry, Charmaine. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Organic Human Movement. Okay, sorry, yeah. No, Odez, that's a whole long story. I asked that candidate to come on the program. I didn't even get the courtesy of a denial. People could at least have the courtesy and say no, but I didn't get that. Yep. Anyway, that's it, folks. I'm going to wrap it up here. I got to hit the road. Have a good day. I'll try to do a noontime stream if I can. Might be a little bit later. And it'll be from my mobile, so it'll be hard for me to do the chat, but I'll do it. But also remember that it's kind of warm here, and so I don't know how it'll be outside when I'm in the sun. So, all right. You guys have a good day. Thank you so much. Cheers, and be sure to hit the like button. We just got 51. Thanks for the super chat revenue. Do appreciate that. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.